So in speaking to you, my tongue is a little heavy, so my words might trip itself up, but I appreciate you listening. The diversity initiative came out of a long thought process, and in hindsight, it made sense that we came just a year after the FFPP process got underway, because what it did was to allow us a vantage point of looking at what our partners are thinking about in terms of the food system and the changes that needs to happen that would help not only small farmers but those in urban centers. We had a sense of where they were going, and then it was like, whoa, wait a minute. How do you deal with the diversity of the U.S. food system and some systemic issues in the food system, not only in the urban centers in terms of access to healthy foods, but in terms of long-standing discrimination issues and in terms of long-standing exclusion from our food system, such as the American Indian system and the farm worker issues. So it was a very rough process. And then I guess another light bulb moment occurred. It was just almost sort of there's something divine unfolding, that after the diversity initiative got on the route, we got another boost in terms of increasing diverse leadership on the food system, and that was a grant that was made through the Noyes Foundation. So it's like everything is sort of working together, and it makes sense that we now have 3 anchoring initiatives dealing with the food system, dealing with urban and rural agenda, and that is through the Food and Farm Policy, the project, the diversity initiative of that, and the diverse leadership initiative. So I really think that more than any other time as a movement, there's a certain, not only maturation, but there's a certain elevation of thinking that I think is almost divinely ordered. So in dealing with the diversity initiative, we really got a green light from the Kellogg Foundation and began to meet in July. And so far, we've met very often, and we have produced a centerpiece document of which we have distributed. It's our discussion papers. I hope you'll take the time, since I won't have the time to fully develop it. But I'd just like to say, by way of background, something that I've been thinking about on the drive from North Carolina. Actually, I was driven here, because everybody who knows me, they know I'm a driving phobe. And coming out of New York City, why do you need to drive? You have taxis, trains, and you can get there. And I've been thinking about my roots, which is urban and very rural, going back to Jamaica, which I might say added to my own toxicity and in the development paradigm of extractive industries. Most of the water in Jamaica is heavily toxic with aluminum and the washing of alumina to produce your Reynolds foil. So in thinking about the ways of black folk, kind of anchored what I'm going to say. I think in terms of black people and our engagement, even in the food system, we need to understand that black people have been a bomb in our U.S. political system, that we are a force for advocacy on social policies, and that we are best as a people when we are inclusive. And that was a thing that resonated in my brain as we sat around the table with the diversity initiative. You have to understand that as the initiative, we had American Indian representation, we had farm worker representation, we had African American representation, we had Latino farm representation. And so it's a situation where you have around the table socially disadvantaged folk, and further disadvantaged by our system of agriculture. And so how do you balance all these interests? And it was not easy. It was a process that we really, really worked on and hard at. And while the document might give us credit. It took a long way to get to that place. And I think I just want to give a special shout out to the people who are part of the diversity initiative. If you would kind of just raise your hand, because I just want to just say just such a good job that you have done. And I think it's to the benefit of the Rural Coalition, which had had a very long history of working with within our population, that we were able to kind of have a jump start in this process.